Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. For this week's video, I am going to be doing a one bedroom modern home in The Sims 4. First, we're just going to be starting off with this front courtyard walkway area. Don't really do these front walkway courtyard pieces a lot, and so I wanted to do something just to kind of help myself grow and make this space a little bit modern with those corner stair walkway pieces. I was imagining that this home would be on the older side, but it recently got a modern, moody refresh in it, and so we are just going to be working on the entryway now, kind of landing space, and so we are just going to be adding a lot of darker colors in this house just to kind of keep with that moody theme I wanted to go throughout this space. And since it is a remodeled of an old home, I know that darker woods were popular say 10, 20 years ago, and so I wanted to keep the floors and the doors dark because in my mind I'm thinking okay, maybe this wasn't part of the budget in the remodel budget, and so now we are just working on the dining space and still finding a few items to put in the entryway area, or have an entryway table area. So we are just going to be adding some solar panels. I did build this in the desert environment that came with the base game, so we are going to now be in the kitchen. So I wanted to keep the dark woods theme going, so I'm using the dark wood that came with the 25th base game update, the 25th anniversary base game update. I feel like I need to be very clear about that for some reason. So we are just going to be adding some tile into this extra area. I was originally planning on having an L shaped, but when I started to build, I'm like, you know what, this doesn't really look like a big enough space for possibly two Sims to be using, and so I decided to make it into a U-shaped kitchen, and I feel like this has a lot more functionality for two Sims to cook together. So we're just going to be adding some upper cabinets. I just added on these one wall on the right just to keep the windows open to the backyard. So we are going to be adding just now some kitchen decorations. Like I said, I want this area to be accessible for two Sims to cook together. So wanted to not overly decorate this kitchen. So we are just going to be adding items. I feel like I usually add the same five items in all my kitchens, but they are also base game items, and so I'm I don't really have to worry about okay, am I doing a pack restricted build or am I doing a pack on non-limited build? So we are now in the living area space of this house. First, we're just going to be adding a TV, and this TV is from City Living. I know I probably could use the base game. I just really wanted to fill in this space from the TV, and on the other side of the wall is a faux garage, and so I feel like I didn't want to put a window on this space because it just would look overlapping and it wouldn't look good, and so we are just going to be adding a lot of items from the Eco Lifestyle pack. I feel like this pack does have a lot of nice calming and cozy items in it, and so we are just going to be adding a gaming console and a lamp by the couches, and to make sure I have the curtains. Since this is built in a desert environment, that means there's a lot of sun that would possibly come into this house, and so we are just going to be adding just a few more decorations and then we are going to be heading into the backyard. I wanted this area to have like a nice like outdoor dining hangout spot, so we do have a picnic table, and I do add some vertical planter boxes to also kind of keep this area private, even though this lot you don't really have any backdoor neighbors. I was just still thinking like should take advantage of that vertical space, and so we are just going to be adding a little walkway to the back gate, which is where the outdoor trash can is placed, but you don't see that because I did forget to add the outdoor trash can, and I didn't realize that when I was editing the video. So we make like a dining space on like the porch balcony spot, and then on this like landing spot next to the vertical garden beds, it's just kind of more like a lounging spot. So we are going to be adding just a few decorative items. It took me a little while to like find the item I was thinking of, and while I was trying to find that this plant or just something to put on the table, I was getting distracted with different items that aren't really related, but I'm just like, okay, that would work here and that would work there. So you saw me kind of jumping back and forth there for a little bit. So we are just now going to be finishing up this backyard space, going to be adding a few like vertical plants and a picture back into the inside of this home. And now we are working on the half bath, which is like the bathroom that guests would use if they're like hosting like a dinner party or something. So we are just going to be adding all the essentials. I do use the sleek bathroom kit for both of the bathrooms since I was going for like a modern look in this home. I wanted to use like more upscale looking items, so we are just going to be adding some towels. We're going to be adding a rug by the sink and going to be finishing up that area. Now we are in the second level, which is a loft, bedroom, bathroom, and balcony. First, we're going to be starting off with the loft space, and I wanted this to be like kind of multi-functional. Like there's like skill building items, but there's also like a spot for work to get done or emails to send, like a work area and then like a skill building area. So we're just going to be adding a few items from the City Living pack. I think most of these items are from the City Living pack. I didn't try to make this video like a one pack per room build, but I feel like anyway it like makes sense to have like matching chairs between like the chess table area and then like the desk area. So we are just going to be adding an art easel, and this is kind of the moment where I'm like, you know what, I think I need to rearrange this room. So I move the chess table outside, and then I have a more dedicated space for the art easel and a little painting corner, and I got space for another window. That is something I was kind of worried about when I was designing this home. It's like there's not many windows, but I do go back at the end of the video to add some more windows into this space. So now we are in the one and only bathroom, which is, I guess, would be considered the primary bedroom. So it does have a private ensuite, but first we're going to be starting off with the bedroom layout. So I wanted to have the bathroom have like a private toilet area, but it didn't really work out. I didn't realize that there wasn't enough space for the dresser and a two sleeper bed, so we are just going to be adding some items onto the side tables now. I do use some lamps from the Dream Home Decorator pack, but I realized that these are like the only items I use from that pack, and so I do get rid of these little cube lights on the side. And I do realize now that I'm like watching this video back is that you probably can't see the grid if you play The Sims and you're wondering how I'm building without seeing that grid. I just hit the button on my keyboard, and then the grid can go on and off as you please. So we are just going to be working on this dressing space, and I didn't want these boxes on top to look the exact same, and so I put more baskets on top of these boxes to help it look more different, but I do put the same basket on the same box, so I don't really know if it looks too different, but there's different color variations and sizes or not of the boxes. I thought I did that differently, and so we are now just going to be adding a few more decorations onto the side tables, wanting to make this bedroom look very lived in, and so we are just going to be adding some art, and now we are in the primary bathroom, which is the second to last space in this home. So I wanted this area to feel very modern, very like hotel resort like. I wanted to try this trend I've seen in real life where they make like a little like alcove area, or they try to make it look like an alcove area with like paint that like starts from the wall and then like goes up to the ceiling. But since you can't really see ceilings in the game, I did the floor instead. And so that's why there's two different like tiles in this room, and so we are just going to be reusing a lot of these items from the first bathroom I showed you, but this bathroom also is bigger and has a bathtub and shower, so there's more area for things to go. And I feel like having the same pack in both of these bathrooms does help this home feel more cohesive with space to space. So we are just going to be adding a picture above this blank wall, and I do add a little like shelf area by this bathtub, and I've started with the floating shelves, but it just felt like too tight, and so I add this like poning wall item to have these items be on, and I feel like this looks more usable. Like you wouldn't be like worried about like bonking your head, and so I did test this out, and it is a functional area of the bathroom. So we do add a window above this bathtub area. I really was thinking like this house is going to be so dark, and so I decided to add two more windows to the front of the house. We are now in the final space, which is this covered balcony over the garage. I kept it pretty simple in this area, just a few lounge chairs, a chess table. Very easy for you to add your Sims personality into this whole space. If you enjoyed watching this video, please make sure to hit that like button, leave a comment down below because that's what the YouTube algorithm likes. If you have any build suggestions for me, leave a comment down below. And if you don't have a comment, just leave your favorite emoji. I post new videos every single Tuesday, and I hope to see you all next week for another Sims 4 video. Bye!